It is March 21st. Good morning from a very warm basement in southeast Seattle. This message is for three poets, Aaron Kokorowski, Jeremy Springsteed, and Maria Winters. I'm going to read a bunch of poems that I wrote for the three of you last week for your birthdays. Aaron's and Jeremy's right around today, and Maria's was back in January. And this piece is called Folk of Fire, and it's split into 4 sections. And this was read out loud once in Redmond, Washington at a birthday celebration, and otherwise this will be the only other reading for a digital reenactment, if you will. Folk of Fire, People of the Pyre. Prelude. What is the earthen bounty? What quake to make ear roar, shuffle step, flutter, friendship beneath the silken moon, uproarious rapture of flame? There is a sticking and a stomping. There are the curbs and the hollowed logs. There is the nursing and the blossomed feelings of frailty before windfall. All things known to come forth in breath. Conversion of breath, this earth is as solid and liquid as your moments of nodding and notices, whether desert crag or shallow shirk. Beneath the bloom of silken booms, before flame swoons, we are begged to ask for more, and more and more and more. The cavalcade begs more. Part 1. For Aaron. Dog flash and mumbleberry and the bottom of the cleaned spittoon make the scene for the eyes that rise before the bay of a friend's loon call. He clears his throat for goodness and for mirth, these decades of stumbling reverie. Cold cod in shoulder blades and green thumbs he bids with stuck out on highways. This cold met with warmth, the smile, the blinding bulge, and the gaunt jaunting. This is him. This is the master of the blades of the fertile and the crisp, the lingerer of lisp, he who shouts even when married to a breath of stills and stealths. We watch the worms do their dance in awe, the little peons praising the God song. He who stomps and clops, and this changeling with eyes boldened by a world coded, the dust as groaning as a pulse, and the flush of his face as wise as his posts, a molten language that collapses rooftops, the shingle splintered, menace to the brick, and the Tyvek does scream in fear at the rap of his breath, the color of the wind, the moment we step back and let him step in. Inwards up, scraping our landscape with his artistry, the shake of our heads so appropriate, the drunk in our swagger so dutiful and dangerous and ticklish before us. We are awarded and righteous with him, and we are thankful for him, through and through the cuddling, like a puppy to our cheeks filled with exploding and bloody berries. We touch down our own toes and watch the world that's been spinning from him throw us back like quaking and filled with a fortitude at the understanding of forever. And the plain spokes of the machine and the warm, cool down retrograde beaming. We've got a fever. We've got his hands on our skin, scraping the hair off our heads to be scrapped, and we're staging a staggering and the effigy of us. With him, a collective, a wonderful cosmos, the trek before and after, full blown fourth dimension. That utterance more of a scream, and you bet it happened with him and his beckoning. I'm reading off the same screen that I'm looking at, so that's interesting. Part 2. This one is for Jeremy Springsteed. I hear the buzzsaw blow oats out of the blow-worm, shimmy, shimmy slime vision. It's the virgin of the versioning of the quaaludes, of the questing or questioning, or the man, the mink, the measles, vanquished before the godsend feathering before us. The tar and the chamber and the little lock you keep sweltering in your pocket as you stumble, your eyes bleary, not so blurry, but a single streak or blear that there is no more. There is no more city, you half-wit, before there is the fullness of the slickened trick before. And you, with your pockets, what do you get? Huh? What clouds you beg for? What chirp? There is the humming, and the brigade, and the brigands, and the besting of the rest of us. And damn if it was not so seen, to be plucked like a fruit or packaged isle-laden, the ashen, dusty fruitcake curdling in its grimy, fungi-splattered covering, the plastic, a window you can't leave home with, designed to land in the trash bin, but not with him. No, not with the nick of the cheek, the lick of the chin, the face of the defacement, the single style that sings to us as we sit rolling, wide awake, screaming coherently, but yes, language is only for ourselves, and he has taught us well that we are unique, we the shadows pretty and unique, and ourselves existing in our own plane. And no, we're not plain, and yes, we are deplaning the astrolabe shuttle tube of the future that leads us to the factories and the warehouses and the bars and the cogs are gaslit, and the fanciful mortuaries are as forever described by the cryptic swinging pendulum. The more back and the more forth, the more the merrier, and it's helpful to be healthy, sanguine, and lean before the fat deserves its subtle trimmings, and we bathe in pools, berries as buried as Marion, before the mountain peaks begin to glow white in snow. We'll show you, he has taught us, we'll show you before the breakdown of the low time to dance and lose a shirt or forget the permanence of anything so thinly drawn, for the splatter chunk rate rise when the explosive chokehold does manifest in swarm. And last but not least, part 3 for Maria Winters. I owe a toke of fresh air to the wanderer who travels lightly and speaks heartily when I see the ancients living with the youth and the understanding of layers, remarking forever and being off to know that beauty does dance around a hearth, the home not necessarily a structure or a center, but a coming to grips of a journey. Travel being the place that we kept as a placeholder when we needed to forage forth, longing and distances and horizons being tools and gauges, and the incessant and the earnest, a single coal or ember scattered upon the deepening grooves and groves, while light rain splits open images and sends deluges of fluctuation into New England, the roots shining in the wet spirits' visages, and New York too, and Bristol and Philly, Chicago resting there like a huge tumor atop a much more prevalent, deserving Dino, a Dino we could all rest well, knowing we could all believe in if we shut the fuck up and listen to the silence, vague silence, unusual silence, precious distance from noise, from the existence of being beyond the rolling flat nothingness, of no fly zones, desert, lack of traffic, and staggering images that would rip your eyes out if they could just beg, the hay being bunched up as closely resembling a lingering sense of the wild as known, the wild as place, transcendental and discoverable. Her hair brown and her eyes certain, shut mouth or poured wine or coffee, and critique the painting, does sit immediately, while forests grow around the centrum. And this is not home, this is everything glowing, a unanimous animalistic sense of virtue and belonging. Brethren, we're all right, worldly. Coat of stars and valley of mysterious blankets of soil that grow strange symbols, the brunt force of existence rearing its head from start to finish, and we can but whisper, for no moan nor scream will shut our open doors before becoming fictioned and faint, the ridges and ruffles along the boundaries of the echoes acknowledged and nodding, the pools of graceful rainwater reflecting and absorbing like her eyes before morning. Happy birthday to you 3 lovely people of my life, Mr. Aaron and Jeremy and Miss Maria. Until next time, I bid you adieu. Have a lovely next 365 days. 366 with the leap year.